Hello friends, Jennifer Pearson here, Thistle Gypsy, and I've got out my Ghetto Tarot, and I've got too many cards here, but I'm here to catch up with some tags, and one of the tags I wanted to do was what I first saw on Astaria Sen's channel. Is it Tarot Characters? Yes, hashtag Tarot Characters, and it's actually kind of similar to a deck interview spread that I've used on occasion, but these questions are certainly, at least some of them are quite unique, so it just seemed like a really fun tag to do, and I decided to use the Ghetto Tarot because I knew question number 1 is card you don't want to meet in a dark alley, and it's not going to. There we go. And this is it. I knew immediately. I think this is an awesome death card. But yeah, no, I don't care to run into that in a dark alley. And there's 8. One of them I might modify. I don't know. I'm going to mess around with the cards here. Okay, so 2. Cards you want to take to Disney World. Where'd he go? I remember now. I think it was the Knight of Brooms. The Knight of Brooms, the Knight of Wands. He looks like he is up for some fun. So this can be a bit of a challenging deck for these sets of questions because it does have a lot to do with poverty, but we're going to go with it anyway. Card you want with you when someone dies. So I had kind of an interesting response to this. If I can find it. Oh, and it was where it was supposed to be. And it's the 6 of Swords, and it would be this person here. So in other words, somebody to kind of take the helm, because I know I'm going to be grieving. I'm going to be grieving. I don't know that I need a shoulder to lean on or something like that. I just need somebody to take over practical matters and steer me in a direction towards sanctuary where I can just do my grieving and feel taken care of while I'm grieving. That's where I'm at with that. So cards you want to drink or get high with. That, because I really have never been a partier. Never, ever. So I'm going to alter that. I would say this. If I had been a partier, this guy seems quite mischievous and as though he would be quite a bit of fun. But I'm going to alter that question to one that suits who I am a little better, which would be what cards would you want to go on a long trip with? And I don't know, I just like this guy, you know, he looks like he would drive. He would drive so I could watch out the window and, you know, would have with that cup, he would have enthusiasm for the places that we stop at, but wouldn't be overly rushed, like wanting to run on to the next thing, like the Knight of Wands that is going to Disney World with me. That, you know, he would be into savoring the experience. So he's the one I'm thinking of taking with me there. I'm not sure even why the Knight of Pentacles is out here. I'm going to put him back. And I think I'm going to put them back. But let's see what's next. Number 5. Card, you give a friendship bracelet and map to your treehouse. And they're in here. I'm going to go with the Six of Cups. Aren't they cute? So yeah, and this means for, this to me, all right, so I'm taking this literally. Like, I'm an adult, and who do I want in my treehouse, etc. So I'm not taking myself back to my childhood. I'm thinking now. And so what I want is to bring some childlike energy into that treehouse. But if we were to look at it another way and look at it as, the Six of Cups is traditionally like people from your past, that again, those are people that I would want to have close to me. I mean, that because I live so far away from so many of my old friends, that, yeah, I would love it if we could get together in whatever form. Doesn't have to be a treehouse. And it amused me too, because it's like with some of the responses I've watched, it's like, I don't know what you guys were doing in your tree houses. But hey, I'm a Virgo moon, and that means that I live in the innocent childhood way to some extent, to the extent that I'm able, given the world's onslaught. Number 6 is the card, the card you would let borrow your car. And I can't remember if it was him. It must be. And I think my thinking with the King of Machetes or the King of Swords is that he would put off such a severe vibe that nobody would get near him. That traffic would part to let him through, so that is what would keep it, and he has strong boundaries, so would keep other people away. So I think that was my thoughts on that. Cards you ask for advice on a tough relationship. Oh, excuse me. I'm doing my usual yawning. This was going to be another one for if I were to go on a trip, because this person is comfortable and knows, they've already been around the block, and so they're very comfortable with anything that we would do, and they're outward looking, they're curious about the world. So that was another one to take on the trip. But that's not where I am. Ask for advice with a tough relationship. It's going to be these two. So the Hierophant, because some people had said justice, and I could definitely see that. But in this deck, just a guy holding a machete isn't going to work for me. But to me, the Hierophant is about right action in the world. So I feel like the Hierophant would say, if we take it out of the misogynistic structured religions that we're accustomed to, and just to an advisor, somebody who's an advisor regarding right actions towards your fellow human beings and right actions in the world, that this is a person, and this particular character in this card strike me as somebody who would who would tell you, I think you are on the wrong path, I think you should give it up, or You know, this person isn't treating you right, flat out. That's the way it is. And this person, because people would have come to them often with their travails, would have a lot of experience in terms of both the stories, you know, the love stories that people go through, and what has worked for those people at various times. So I think the Hierophant would have a lot of perspective in that regard. The other person would be the King of Cups. Because again, I think of him as a counselor, somebody who could potentially mediate, who would be more likely to kind of see both sides of the story, but have compassion for whoever was potentially getting the raw end of the deal. So I'm looking for, I guess I've got more cards in this other hand than I realized. And I was even thinking like the Lovers, because again, presumably these are people who have learned to, who have gone through the trials, especially since the Lovers card is usually depicted as opposites. So they must have gone through some trials also. So to talk with them and say, so is this normal? You know, what I'm going through, is this reasonable or not? So the next, I can't remember what this, but the next one is, can you take a card you take on a shopping spree? And I actually chose the Three of Cups because to me, even though it's called a shopping spree, and the implication there is that you're going to spend a lot or buy a lot or something, to me, it's all about the vibes you have with the people who are with you. It's not really about buying things. It's, at least, you know, I get too worked up around spending money. so so really, kind of for me, it would be a happier experience if there was no pressure to buy anything, but just to go and look with people who have similar tastes, who would ooh and ah at the same things, and feel like they had to absolutely go into the same stores as you want to go into, and we just take a very lighthearted approach. And you know, when you're showing them what you found, they'll treat it as though it is something incredible, even if it's not up their alley. So yeah, it's all about the emotional connection. So I'm trying to figure out, so the Queen of Pentacles is certainly was under consideration for who I would take on a shopping spree. But I don't know. She looks like she has everything she needs. So maybe not. No, that's interesting. But I can't remember what was I going to do with the, I don't know if he was who I would let borrow my car, maybe. Maybe. It's the only one I can think of, just in terms of, well, he's got tires there. But somebody who would want to preserve or conserve whatever is there, somebody who would be in a state of mind that was one about being very careful. And this character here, I was thinking of also taking on the shopping spree because he looks like he's considering, well, what do I spend? You know, I have a problem spending, as I just said. So, um, and not that I don't, I do spend, but I just go through all kinds of fits of decision making before I'll do it. And so he seems like somebody who could be that judge for me, so I don't have to do it. So I could hold it up, and he's a good judge. Is this a value? Is it emotionally worth whatever you're going to pay for it? You know what? So I think he would be a great helper to have on a shopping spree. Um, okay, and that's it. Fun tag, and I appreciate people sharing it, doing it, and yeah, there are my responses from the Get Out Tarot. Take care, everybody.